ॐ भूर्भुवः स्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात् ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः अरुणाचल शिव अरुणाचल शिव अरुणाचल शिव अरुणाचला. Bhagwan Sri Ramana Maharshi was emphasizing the importance of true silence. See, people misinterpret the meaning of silence as per the normal and the prevalent definition of silence is not talking, keeping the mouth shut. But in actual sense, and as per Maharshi Ramana, the state of thoughtlessness is the actual and true silence. There should not be any arising of thoughts from the Atma. When the thoughts cease to arise from Atma, this is the true silence. So we must adhere to this meaning of silence, not the prevalent meaning of silence that not talking, not opening the mouth, not in the speaking terms with others. But that is not the actual meaning of silence. Silence means there should not be any thought, there should not be any thought arising from the Atma. So, how Maharshi used to talk about this? There is one incident. Nagamma was a Telugu lady and she was a great devotee of Maharshi. So she describes at 3 o'clock one afternoon, I joined the company of devotees around Bhagwan. Reverting to what he had been saying earlier about Sri Shankara's Dakshinamurti Ashtakam, Bhagwan said Shankara took it into his head to praise Dakshinamurti. But how can one praise Mauna, means silence? So he described Srishti, creation, Sthiti, preservation, Laya, dissolution, and offered salutations to Dakshinamurti, who is the embodiment of all three. In what other way could silence be praised? Taking up the thread of the conversation, one devotee said, Dandapani Swami told us that one Shivaratri day, many years back, all the devotees gathered around Bhagwan and sat down saying, Today Bhagwan must explain to us the meaning of the Dakshinamurti Ashtakam. However, Bhagwan sat silent for a long while, smiling but not speaking. They then went away, feeling that Bhagwan, by his continued silence, had given them to understand that silence alone is the true meaning of the verses. Is that so? Bhagwan confirmed that it was so. I then added, so that means that Bhagwan gave a silent commentary and Bhagwan confirmed this also. Someone else said, then true silence means abiding in the self, does not it? Bhagwan, yes, of course. Without the self, how could it be silence? Devotee asked, That is just what I am asking. Would it be silence just to refrain from speaking without abiding in the self? Bhagwan replied, how could it be? Some people talk of keeping silence when all the while they keep on writing messages on bits of paper on a slate. Is not that activity of the mind just the same? Another devotee intervened. Then is there no benefit at all from simply refraining from speech? Bhagwan, a person may refrain from speech in order to avoid the obstructions of the outer world, but he should not suppose that that is an end in itself. True silence is really endless speech. There is no such thing as attaining it because it is always there. All you have to do is to remove the worldly concerns that cover it over. There is no question of attaining it. In the meantime, news came that some broadcasting society was thinking of recording Bhagwan's voice. Laughing, Bhagwan said, oh, is that so? But my voice is silence, is not it? How can they record silence? That which is silence. Who could record it? The devotees sat quiet, exchanging glances, and the hall became absolutely silent. Bhagwan, the embodiment of Dakshinamurti, sat in the Mauna Mudra, the posture of silence facing southwards. That living image, his body was radiant with the light of Atma. What a good day it was today. Silence in the presence of Bhagwan had no feeling of constraint about it. It was a living, vibrant silence. It was in silence that the power of his presence and the emanating of the grace was most keenly felt. The same is to be felt now also. One meaning of the name Dakshinamurti is the southward facing. The Guru is the spiritual North Pole and therefore traditionally faces south. So, silence is to be free from thoughts. There should not be any thought, and this state is known as silence. Bhagwan Ramana Maharshi used to say that the real teachings can be imparted to the people through silence, because during silence the full divine energy of the sage is fully intact, and its impact to the people who are sitting in his vicinity, they are impacted by this positive energy. When he is speaking, that means he has to use the thoughts and thinking power. That time the divine energy is dissipated, and because when the thoughts arise from the Atma, that times the divine energy of the thoughts is mixed with the negative energy, because the outgoing thoughts, they are going away from the divinity and they are going towards the world, and world is full of negative energy. So while speaking, because speech is preceded by thoughts, first comes the thought, then there is contemplation, and then only the speech comes into force. So that is, silence is more powerful than speech, and this was revealed by Maharshi in the actual practical form. Because most of the time while devotees were sitting around him, he was keeping silent. And people, they were completely impacted by the divine power emitted by the Maharshi. So, silence means the full divine force is there, and the teachings can be imparted in the silence mode. And this is another example is Dakshinamurti. He imparted his teachings to the old devotees of his only without saying even a single word by mouth. He was imparting his teachings in silence, means without speaking. So, power of silence is very much true. So, most of the time we should sit in meditation mode and try to keep the state of our mind going inwardly. When the mind, ego, go inwardly, that time they come under the influence of the Atma and mind becomes pure, and almost this mind becomes the part of Atma. So when there is no mind means no speech. So this is the real and true silence. And that time the teachings can be imparted to the people. See, it is said that in Himalayas there are very ancient time sages, they are meditating, they are in penance there, and they are imparting this spiritual knowledge to the whole world through their silence. So we must understand the importance of silence and try to keep our mind silent. Especially during meditation, we must observe the state of thoughtlessness, because this thoughtlessness means we are very much near to the Atma, because the basic nature of Atma is bliss and peace. And when the mind is moving towards the Atma, that time this mind also becomes pure. So, this pure mind and ego, they merge into the Atma, and this is the state of thoughtlessness, and also this is the state of superconsciousness, or this is the state of samadhi. And only at this state, in this state only, we undergo the state of samadhi, and finally we reach the state of self-realization, and this is the process of liberation also. So please try to understand, keep the flow of rise of thoughts from the Atma to the minimal, and we must try to arrive at the state when there is no rising of thoughts. So this is the ideal state of thoughtlessness, and we reach the state of self-realization. So silence is very important. It plays a great role in spirituality. It plays a great role to make us self-realized. it it leads us to liberation. So try to keep silence as much as you can. So thank you, my dear friends, for talking and listening this video. Please like, comment and share the video and subscribe my channel. Thank you.